Hey guys, Paul here. Long time no speak. You guys might have noticed that we still don't have a ban list in Yu-Gi-Oh right now, and that kind of sucks for a lot of reasons. This is weird, especially because it kind of feels like we're overdue for one, and this is sort of the longest that Konami has waited between giving us one, like in recent years. So I wanted to share some of my thoughts on it, maybe some of my theories on it, and offer, I guess, kind of some advice. I don't know about sort of the ban list thing. So, we got our last ban list in like May of this year, and typically in the last few years, ban lists have come out like every 3 months, which would mean that we should have gotten a new ban list. May, June, July, like maybe in August, let's say. August should have been when we got a new ban list. Could have been early August, mid August. We're now at the pretty much the tail end of September and nothing in sight. And that's certainly worrying for a lot of players because there's a lot of reasons why this sort of affects your Yu-Gi-Oh play experience, right? It's tougher to invest in building a new deck if you have the fear that like it will be hit by the ban list. Do I want to buy sprites? Do I want to buy Terra Elements? They might be getting hit on the ban list. Do I want to buy even maybe something a little slightly older? Do I want to invest in copies of this or that? Do I want to buy a certain product or set? And if you don't know what the ban list is going to be, then that sort of decision becomes a lot harder. It also means, of course, that like the format starts to feel stale, and it's something that Yu-Gi-Oh players have always sort of been very opposed to, myself included. When a format kind of feels like it's overstayed its welcome, the same top decks have been dominating for a long time, or just the same strategies exist, or just certain problematic cards that show up a lot just feel like they are still showing up a lot, and like we're just tired of seeing them. Scythe, Mine, these are common ones, but also Chaos Ruler. That's one that like people talk about a lot. Fairy Tale Snow, a few of those cards. So it feels like people really want Konami to update this list. I think that's quite reasonable. And then also, like, it makes it difficult to plan for major events. So, like, YCS events are around the corner. There's, like, YCS Minneapolis, and even in the kind of more distant future, YCS Pasadena. So those are, like, some of the events that, like, you might want to travel to. But if you're not really a big fan of the current format, then maybe it's not really a YCS you want to play in. Or if they were to release a ban list, the week that an event like that is happening, that would be difficult because like if you've invested a lot of time and energy into like playtesting the current build of your deck and then suddenly the ban list changes, you have to change your deck and you have to change your expectations for everybody else's deck, it gets really tough. So I say all of this to basically say that it's weird that Konami has not released one. And it kind of annoys me a little bit, or at least perplexes me how Konami can be okay with this method of releasing ban lists. So I'm an old head here. You guys are gonna hear this old story. Back in my day, ban lists actually came out on set dates. It was always March 1st and September 1st, and for a long time that's how it was. They only started changing that in maybe 20. God, I'm really aging myself here. Like 2014 or 15 or so was when they started to kind of go for more of like I think it was like 3 a year, and then they changed to like 4 a year, and they kind of stopped giving dates, and it was just more like no sooner than, everyone's favorite word in the Yu-Gi-Oh community, or the sort of phrase like, no sooner than. And this most recent time, they're not even saying that. They're not even saying no sooner than like September 1st or something. They're saying like in a few months. If you go on the ban list page, it just says the next update will be in a few months. Like that's all you get. So they're getting increasingly, or I guess decreasingly specific and more vague with like ban list dates. And what it perplexes me because it's like, is there like a good reason to do this? Like, do they just want to keep players on the hook? Do they get off to this sort of thing? Just kind of, I guess, edging the consumer and like sort of feeling like the ban list might be next week, and it might be next week, and it might be today. It's already to me like weird enough that ban lists get uploaded on like random weekdays. That's always been sort of strange. I liked when lists came out like on September 1st. You knew exactly when it would come out, and you knew exactly when the format would like begin and end. 6 month formats were certainly long, and I feel like we've gotten used to shorter formats now. So I think players might not want the whole 6 month thing. But I'm just saying that it's nice to get lists at a designated date and time, because otherwise it's just like, man, you really feel like you're let in the dark. It's not. There's already the fact that like we don't get patch notes of any kind, so there's no real insight into the decision making of ban lists. And we haven't ever really had that, so maybe once Konami has done that. So like that's not a big shock, but I'm just always surprised that Konami can be okay with like leading players on like this. Now you might say, well, it's the players' fault, right? You know, we're the ones who still keep buying this game, buying these decks, cracking the product, whatever, watching the content. We keep it all alive, and so they're able to get away with it. And that's certainly a cynical stance to have, but I still think that Konami, I'm just so shocked that they're not trying to be a little more forthcoming about this. Now, there's a long rant to be had here that I have like every other day with my friends, where I'm talking about how I really think Konami kind of needs to, get some community management initiatives going on, and we really need like more communication from them, even if it's not, taking everybody's like input in with the ban list, and that's what people probably want. I'm just saying like it would be nice to know like some basic patch notes. Believe it or not, even Duel Links provides this. They at least whenever like ban lists happen in that game, they say, okay, we limited this because it was causing this thing. It's like one sentence. It's not a lot of insight, but it's something that we don't get in the TCG. So I'm just very surprised that this is happening, and it's weird to me. Now, on the other side of the token, I'm going to say this. I think that Yu-Gi-Oh players, we, because I've been guilty of this in the past too. Not as much nowadays. I'm a little more divorced from like how much I care about a ban list really happening, but I think that we have given the ban list too much control over our enjoyment of this game. I think we've given too much power to the ban list. So the ban list for a lot of players is almost like a holiday, right? Or it's like a big event to look forward to. Sometimes it's not even what's on the list, it's just the fact that it's a new, fresh list. And that means a lot for people. It just sort of, it freshens up the game, and it's almost a big thing. Like you expect all the content creators make their big ban list reactions, and then you get all the videos of like, here's what the best decks of the format are going to be, and here's how you rebuild that deck from last format. Here's the updated Dark Magician deck for October 2022. Even though Dark Magician didn't actually get hit by the ban list at all, and nothing changed. They don't have any new support, but sure, whatever. October 22 version, right? And it's like so it's a big event. Like it's a community-wide thing. It kind of like galvanizes people. But I do think that you still should not allow the ban list to control how much you can enjoy the game. It's okay to be afraid to make like a huge commitment, like investment, right? If a deck's like $200-300, I get why you would not want to maybe pull the trigger on that. But on the other hand, you know, maybe that means it's a good excuse to play a fun deck instead. Play an alternate format. Try out Goat or Edison, or I've heard of like things like Trinity format. Maybe even try out Speed Duels or try out Duel Links, or hey, Cross Duels just came out. If you want like your Yu-Gi-Oh fix, maybe that can give it to you. Like there's different games like that can be really fun. Or build the fun deck that kind of like sucks by conventional standards. Right now, I've been playing like Scareclaw, Labyrinth, and stuff like that. And I've been having a lot more fun because it's like I'm not having to sort of feel like I'm on the hook with playing maybe tier sprite hybrid pile thing, right? So I do sometimes think that we give Konami too much power in this regard of like how much we want to even go to locals or whatever. So I even heard like content creators who are like really concerned about like making content about like side decking guides or deck profiles or just whatever, because it's like, well, I could release this stuff and the ban list would just drop and then it'll all be for nothing. I totally get it. I mean, I'm a content creator too, but I do think that it's just I've kind of reached a point where, listen, the ban list is not going to really, in the big scheme of things, change all that much. A lot of decks won't really be affected by it, so just in that micro scale, but also in the macro scale, Yu-Gi-Oh's still Yu-Gi-Oh! Modern Yu-Gi-Oh's still going to look about the same. A lot of the strong cards will still be strong. A lot of the same types of strategies are still going to exist. And in that way, just play like you've always played. If you want to build a new deck, build a new deck. If you want to make a certain type of content, make the type of content. Don't let the ban list, paralyze you in fear and all that. And I guess also two other just quick funny things. I know during banlist season, there's always kind of this thing where players will like comment on Konami's social media posts, and like Konami will be like, "Here's the new Crystal Beast structure deck," and people are just like, "Yeah, this is great. We don't care. Give us a ban list. Ban list, ban list, ban list, ban list, win." And it's always sort of funny and stuff to me. I don't know if they actually see any of that or if they care. Maybe they're just farming the engagement for all we know. But it's I just always kind of found that amusing. And also there is like a theory. So when the ban list came out, the May ban list got updated. The website very briefly, for like maybe just an hour or something, said that the next list would be no sooner than December 25th of 2022. And they quickly changed that, but it makes you wonder. Maybe like that's when we're gonna get the new ban list in like 3 more months from now. Scary thought, because like, Jesus, 3 more months of whatever the hell this is, kind of sounds like it sucks. But I'm starting to become more and more of a believer because every passing day it just doesn't seem like nothing comes out. So I don't know. All right, anyways, that's all I have to say about it. Let me know down in the comments, when do you think the ban list is reasonably going to come out? Do you think that we're just not going to be getting one for another few months? Maybe Konami feels like the format's fine. How are you spending your ban list waiting room time? Are you building some fun decks? Are you taking a break and finally going outside and touching some grass? Who knows? But yeah, it's going to be it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Best turn.